What's it, guys? It's Sam Tweeter. Today on my first place undefeated Skystarker deck profile. Before we get into the profile, I have a few shoutouts. Shout out to Tony for getting me my 2 roses right before the tournament started. If I didn't have these roses, I might not have won the event. And then also shout out to Pack Official TCG for a lot of inspiration from his list that topped at Gamer's Choice event. Anyway, let's get into the profile. This one should kind of be obvious. 3 Ray. Ray is just your whole entire engine in one card, and she's just really good. Dodges, trap cards, special summons from grave. It just does everything you want a starter to be and do. So yeah, Ray was just really good. 2 Rose. Rose was good. Anytime I drew this, I can always just send Ray off of Hayate if I need to, so I could have the float effect. And yeah, Rose was just good. You don't need 3 of Rose because you don't want to draw Rose too much, and just 2 is just really good. Then definitely don't play 1 copy because you just need more actual starters in the deck. That's it for the Skystarker monsters. Maybe Konami will give us some more, but probably not since we got engaged. Then Rhoda. Rhoda searches either one of them. Even if I do have Ray already in the graveyard, sometimes I still search another one just in case I'm like playing in the back row and I want to like dodge target effects with Ray. And then next up I have the hand traps. I'm playing 15. I play 3 Ash. This card's really generic in every single matchup. Ash is just a really strong hand trap, and as it stands right now, I don't think I'd ever play like any event or locals or whatever without Ash. Next up, I have 3 of fake Ash. Ghost spells just like Ash, whereas it hits a whole bunch of matchups, and it's just really generic and hits a lot of stuff. Ghost spell did a lot in this tournament. I hit Eldritch plus something from the grave. I hit Sanguine. I hit what's it called, Seer, the Burning Abyss monster. I hit a lot of cards with this. Oh, I also hit Nadir Servant. So yeah, Bow was just really good. Then next up, I play 3 Effectfair. If you're new to Skystriker, you'll probably play Imperm over Effectfair, but Effectfair is better in this deck because you don't want to set cards. Like, you don't want to lose to back removal because that's what people are siding into your deck. Instead of setting like a whole bunch of cards like Imperm, which Imperm loses to cards like Lightning Storm, Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone, all those back removal cards, like Harpy's Feather Duster, of course. Like, somebody even Harpied me this tournament, just didn't do too much because of I'm playing cards like Effectfair. Effectfair is a hand trap and it stays in hand, so I'm just negating it. So I have Interruption that's not on the field, that was the back removal. The only thing Effectfair and hand traps lose to is Called by the Grave and talents, but doesn't really lose too hard to talent. So yeah, having hand traps that stay in the hand, unlike Imprint that you're gonna have to set, is just better. I'm also not playing the Hulk and Selene package, which I'll talk about more later, but Effectfair is still pretty good. Next up I have 3 Crow. Crow is just a good hand trap. Banishing Engage is really strong. Banishing Salamander names so they have Salamander names to play with is good. Banishing Drytron names so they don't have Drytron names to play with is good. Just like banishing cards out of the graveyard is just pretty strong. It's bad into the Trizu matchup, but you're always siding it out after game 1. Then I play 3 Nibiru. Nibiru wasn't crazy in this tournament. I didn't draw it against a combo deck until game 3, but I still won, of course, because I went undefeated. But when I did draw Nibiru, it was kind of 50-50. The time I did play against combo was really good, but I also drew 2 of them against Eldritch, which was pretty bad, but I still won. I still beat the matchup because I just had too much card advantage going for me. That's it for the hand traps. Because Eldritch is honestly just a really free matchup for this deck. Like, Shark Cannon just does way too much, banishing the Golden Lords. Next up, the card that made this deck relevant, Engage. This card's insane. People will send this off a Hayate, which is usually incorrect. You're usually going to want to search it off of Suzuku, so you can use it twice next turn and just add 4 cards to your hand, which is just broken. Engage just does so much, and I just plussed out this card. I just loved just using it. It was just so good in the tournament. Next up, another starter like Engage Hornet Jones. It's a good one of. Helps you can go for the game. Helps you go for game, because you can link climb with it, and yeah, it was good. It was good. Then multi-roll. I remember I used the effect, sent Area 0, summoned Ray, did some stuff with that, and then I went Afterburners on one of my opponent's monsters, and they tried to chain the monster effect to it, but I was like, no, I use multi-roll effect, you can't respond. It's just really broken. Making it to where your opponent can't respond to your stuff is just, it shouldn't exist, to be honest, but since it does, we're going to abuse it. One Afterburners. I've tested a lot with this card. I like 1, 2, and 3, but 1 is just good. You don't need 2 copies of it. It's a really good card, but you just, 1 is fine. Like, you just don't need more of it, so you only play 1. I can see the reasoning for 2, but I think 1 is better. Then the MVP, Eagle Booster. This card's broken. Not only can you like chain this to hand traps, make them unaffected, but when you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, they can't be restored by a battle either. So like if for some reason you don't have follow up, like they ask your Suzuki or something, and you don't have like a Ray for next turn, you can like Eagle Booster and make sure that stays on the field until your turn, so you can play with it. I just really loved Eagle Booster, just chaining it to hand traps and just making them neg for no reason, and then just adding Engage which just pluses me at infinite. It was just really good. You can't play this card at 1 copies. 1 copy. This card has to be at 2 or 3. It's just way too good. However, 3 might get a little bit inconsistent, so I just think 2 is best. 2 Shark Cannon. This card was crazy. Helped me go for game a lot, especially since I'm not playing the Hulk and Celine. It's just Hulk and Celine is just so unneeded when I can go for game with my Shark Cannons. Just Shark Cannon, special summoning from grave, and then just linking it off and just going into an Axis code, and just like putting in damage like that is just so broken. Also, I banished all of my opponent's lords on like turn 3 with my Shark Cannons. Shark Cannon was just so good into the Eldritch matchup. That's what makes the Eldritch matchup free, to be honest. Just Shark Canning everything. It was just great. I love the card. Another MVP was Widow Anchor. I Widow Anchor took people's cards and attacked them with it. Another way you can go for game. It's just like the Huck and Celine package is so unneeded. I tested with it. I liked it. It's just so unneeded, and I don't want to waste spots in my extra deck and waste spots in my main deck for cards that are just unneeded, like the second Afterburners, a 3rd Eagle Booster, cards like that. But yeah, Widow Anchor is really good. Next up, I have the 2 Area 0, and technically the 3rd copy. You play the Terraformer over the 3rd copy because it's another spell in graveyard. Sometimes you do end up drawing 2 of these, like these 2 together, but I mean, it's fine, because you just go activate Area 0, set the Terraforming, mill the 3, and then you just send it, so it's a spell engraved still, even if you do draw the target, and you can just send it, so it's fine. Terraforming was good. I did draw it, and it was good when I drew it. And then just for some really powerful consistency cards, Upstart 39 card decks are the best decks. 3-part Desires. Desires was good. I banished my Engage a couple times off of Desires, but even if I did do that, I still ended up winning the game because Sky Striker's actually not even bad without Engage. So yeah, I really liked Pot of Desires. I prefer Pot of Desires over Foolish Burial Goods. Foolish Burial Goods just isn't good enough. You're never resolving Engage turn 1 to draw anyway, so you just don't need to turbo spells in your graveyard. And then Pot of Desires just saying draw 2 is just broken. Like, really, you just have like 4 Potted Greeds in this deck with the 3 pots and the Engage. It was really good in the tournament. And then for the last card, Called by the Grave. I never drew Called by the Grave, but in theory, it's just a strong and good one. Up next is the extra deck. 3 Hayate. Playing 3 came up, and it is good. 3 Kagari. This card's broken. Adding Engage and using it is just really good. 3 Shizuku. Good. I had one matchup. I had one game where I didn't summon any Shizukus. I don't remember what the trap card was called, but it was this continuous trap card that made it to where I couldn't add cards from my deck to my hand, except by drawing them. So I just never summoned Shizuku, but I won the game anyway, just because you can win games without resolving engage. It's just pluses you infinite. It just depends on how you play and how the game rolls out, to be honest. But yeah, it did hurt not being able to add off Shizuku and not being able to activate cards like engage, but it was fun. I was able to take control of the match anyway without adding cards. Then for the utility ones, one Kaina, one Zeke. I summoned Kaina once, I believe, and it wasn't great when I did, but it's just utility, needing another name, and special summoning Ray, and then when they destroy your link, and then like make something on attack is good. It's just like, in theory it's good, but it didn't really come with the tournament. Zeke was really good, did come up a lot. Then for the last 4 cards, I played Nightmare Phoenix, Hida, Ningirsu, and Access Code Talker. Access Code didn't come up a whole bunch. Usually I won my games by just out-resourcing my opponent, so I didn't need to Access Code kill them. But it was good when it did come up. Then I had Ningirsu. Ningirsu did come up as well. Just like Access Code Talker, the utility of the card's good, and it did come up, just not a whole bunch of cores. But yeah, it was pretty good. Hida, it didn't really come up. The only time it came up was when I banished all of my Rays and all of my Roses, and I like Widow Anchored his Lord, normal summoned Ash, and made this, and I lost the game anyway. But I did win game 3, so yeah. But yeah, it wasn't great. In that match, it was just really bad banishing all of my Rays and all of my Roses. That honestly lost me the game. That was the only time Power Desires was bad in the tournament. Nightmare Phoenix was good. Linking off cards to make Access Code and gaming did come up, and yeah, Nightmare Phoenix just has utility. You need to out cards like Imperial Order and Anti-Spell, and yeah. And so for the extra deck, for the side deck, Droll. My bad. 3 Droll. In theory, Droll's good. I didn't know if I'd play Drytron or not, which I didn't. So this would have came up in that matchup, but I never sided Droll in since I never won against Drytron. But even if I did go against Drytron, I'd be prepared with 15 hand traps and Droll on the side. Next up, I have 3 Imperm. I was afraid of Tri-Brigade. Well, not really afraid of it because it's a good matchup, but I wanted to have good hand traps for that matchup. I actually never sided in Imperm. I never played against Tri-Brigade or Drytron actually in the tournament. So yeah, Imperm never went in, and I just always never want to side out these cards because a lot of my opponents sided in cards like Twin Twisters, Lightning Storms, Feather Duster, and like if the effect pillars I drew, or like just the card I sat out or drew would have been an Imperm, I probably would have lost more of those cards. It's like holding your cards actually in your hand is just so much better in Sky Striker. You want to have like 6 cards in your hand and then like 2 set. You don't want to lose the cards like Twin Twisters and Cosmic Cyclone. You just want to have interruption in your hand where it's protected. So yeah, in theory, Imperm's good. 3 Meister. Meister helps your Prank Kids matchup, and it's also good against Dinosaur, if people still play that. But yeah, it didn't come in a lot either. Never played against Prank Kid either. My matchups were actually like round 1 I played against this like Ice Barrier Paleo deck. That was a 2-0. Game 2 I played against Zombie Eldritch, and that was 2-0. Game 3 I'm at round 3 I played against Dogmatica Eldritch. That was a 2-1. That went pretty good. Then my round 4 was against this Phantom Knights combo deck. So yeah, those were my matchups. Then I had 3 Twin and 3 Cosmic. These cards were really good. Somebody anti-spelled me and I was like, Cosmic Cyclone. So yeah, Cosmic Cyclone was really good there. Twister was good too. I cleared out the Eldritch player's back row, and then just like went super plus off of them. Because like putting Twin Twisters in the graveyard plus another spell is 2 spells in the graveyard So when you're activating engage, like I could activate engage like in turn 4, and I just like already had enough spells to just start going plus. But yeah, Twister and Cyclone is good. That's it for the side, main, and extra. I hope you enjoyed the deck profile, and if you do have any questions, make sure to comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.